First of all, I am not a racist, but I think we all know that whites and Jews run our society. Donald Trump's daughter is a Jew. You can look it up. It's mainstream, media, mainstream history. He's obviously white. Her husband is a Jew that owns the New York Observer and bought a building at 666 Fifth Avenue or something like that, but it's 666. Recently, there's been a gay highway patrol guy that I think is the same guy who's in the area every time in a highway patrol SUV. I first noticed him pulled over on the side of the road as I drove by, and since I've been harassed by political groups recently, I've been kind of noticing things that are out of the ordinary. But I thought, maybe it's no big deal. But the other day when a Porsche drove by me, passed me on a one-lane road, this highway patrol officer later pulled me over, and when I was going around 48, he accused me of going 78. He took my ID and license and registration and insurance. And he quickly came back and said he's not giving me a ticket. Then yesterday, a pickup truck drove by me, going probably about 80 or so, again on the one-lane road in a similar place. And this particular officer passed me, and I thought maybe he's going to pull me over again, so I pulled over on the road to kind of beat him to it so I can help create my argument, which probably wouldn't have helped me very much, but I had to do something right. And I also have a recording of this incident that I may or may not release later, because it doesn't definitively prove anything, especially without a recording of the first incident. Now, my mom borrowed my car the other day, and I have an eye appointment today, and I thought it was quite odd that the back tire supposedly hit a road hazard, as she put it, and she replaced it with the spare and made a tire appointment, according to her, at 8 o'clock, which would have almost certainly made me miss my eye appointment that I believe is at 9:30. But regardless, I don't think it's a coincidence. And I don't think it's a coincidence that these people have been trying to set me up. So they could plant evidence in my car, drugs, guns, whatever. There's no telling what they're going to do exactly, but that's the main thing I'm thinking they're trying to do here. For those of you who know that I've quit smoking weed for over 2 years now. I've quit drinking alcohol since May 6, 2009, going on 8 years. I don't do any substances. I don't abuse any substances, but they've been covertly drugging me, and I have 11 witnesses to this effect. And I have interviews with over 40 people as well. There are political groups persecuting me for my political views, and they've made that 100% clear to me, time and time again. They've told me to take down my videos, keep my opinions of gays and feminists, and Freemasons, and controlled opposition movements to myself. And obviously the police are helping him, and he was obviously a pretty gay white man who would pull me over. And I don't think it's a coincidence that they're only about 2% of the population. Though I'm maybe an hour, 45 minutes away from San Francisco, San Jose and Morgan Hill aren't known for having a particularly high gay population. So, yes, when you couple all these events together, it certainly suggests that they're harassing me. Though nothing is completely conclusive, it could be the biggest coincidences and the biggest series of coincidences in the world. But when you're dealing with politics, it doesn't tend to be Police are notorious for pulling over black people who are political activists and mistreating them all over this country. They're also notorious for their blue code of silence. And California in particular is known for the Rampart Unit and the sheriff departments having a code of silence, especially in the prisons, the correctional officers, what have you. So none of this is conspiracy theory. It's all mainstream history. And when you do your due diligence, you know that white people in America especially are particularly sensitive when it comes to politics and when it comes to uncontrolled black political activists. We also know that a lot of the controlled black activists, such as Jesse Jackson, has pretty much admitted over the years that they've sold out. So we know there are controlled black activists and movements and very few uncontrolled ones. So it's easy for them to single us out for harassment, especially since they sabotage our social networks. I'm making this video in anticipation of them mistreating me in the future. I haven't done anything wrong. I don't do anything illegal. And I don't think everything that's been going on is a coincidence. They've basically been warning me in the tradition of white hate groups to stop being politically active. They used to use words such as uppity, so on, to describe people such as myself. I'm going to continue doing what I'm doing. I'm not going to let a bunch of racist cops, gay cops, or any other political opposition members intimidate me. And I am greatly disturbed by the fact the FBI seems to be helping them. I have no definitive evidence to that effect, but it would be very hard to believe that they're not helping them, because I know that they are fully aware of what is going on with me and countless other individuals who have been targeted for harassment. Recently, the Daily Mail came out with an article about certain technologies in America that Russia has and America has, and how they intend to use them on political dissidents. The Daily Mail tends to be right on the money with many of its articles. Well-sourced, well-researched. They tend to do a lot better job than most of the mainstream news networks, at least. So I wonder how much technology they have been using to harass me. Don't know. I'm a man of science when it comes to figuring things out and stating my case. I don't believe in aliens or demonic entities controlling things or reptilians. I look at the facts, such as Francis Galton was a Freemason, like Harry Truman, who started the CIA, and Roosevelt, FDR, who started the OSS. Also, these people were alive when eugenics was alive as well. They were presidents, and they did nothing to stop it. These are the facts. The people who founded these institutions were racist, and these institutions have been caught time and time again with incidences of institutional racism, especially toward black people. So yes, the California Highway Patrol is notorious for racial profiling and racism. And when you add political profiling to this, it doesn't take someone as well researched or with as high of an IQ as myself to figure out that I'm being singled out for my political activities. My over 3,000 videos on YouTube, over 10,000 valid sources. And I've been making these videos for, I'd say, almost a year over 7 years. Excuse me, a month over 7 years now. Since August 2009. So I've been doing my research for a long time, and that much is evident. I have multiple channels. I've been harassed in the comments, and I have videos of them hijacking my phone, and several witnesses to my room and my car being fumed. And that could be the biggest coincidence in the world, the scientist part of me says, but at the same time, when you couple everything together, it's extremely unlikely, especially when you look at the trajectory of technology and how these technologies are used on political dissidents, along with legislation such as the Patriot Act. So when all is said and done, you should download this video and expose, because whatever happens to me is not a coincidence. Law enforcement is also notorious for collaborating with some of these major gangs we have, the Norteños, black gangs, the white gangs, the Southern Hispanics, and whatnot have you. So almost certainly if they set me up, it is very probable that they will have an agreement with the inmates who will almost certainly be waiting for me. None of this is far-fetched in the slightest. We all know the history of the racial criminal justice system collaborating with law enforcement, and even, forensic scientists and coroners even, and everything. People who do autopsies. I think the best way to describe this is it is a white and Jewish collaboration against me. And the white people are in some sort of, private club or society that overlaps, with their membership overlaps when it comes to political groups. Some of them are conservatives, some of them are gay liberals, and so on. What they share in common is their racial pride. It's not necessarily a group like the Ku Klux Klan, but more of like a white group that emphasizes white supremacy and maintaining the white establishment and governing class. And we see time and time again that these are white Jews who often marry white families. So the connections are there, they're distinct, they're well-defined, and they're unavoidable. I've been very disappointed with the amount of cowardice I've seen in society and the lack of willingness to address these problems that face us all and to do the right thing. Also, these people harass me very often, consistently, about my top martial arts challenge, which is almost up. And I've noticed that the harassment has increased as we are down to a little more than 3 months left in my challenge. This is rather unfortunate, and it also includes a lot of Asian groups as well, who would like to see me out of the picture instead of emphasizing that they've been hiding and trolling instead of accepting my challenge. And those who have accepted have lost 10-0. So I guess this is where we are now. And I encourage you again to download this video and be ready to re-upload it. If I do not comment and post on Facebook and YouTube consistently in the coming weeks, especially leading up to December 20th, it's time to re-upload and to expose what they're doing. Now ask yourselves, what are the odds? Ask yourselves, what are the odds that I would make this video before being set up and predict being set up? My gut and the evidence says that the fact that I've exposed the Masonic California Highway Patrol patch, they have a special Mason patch for Masons in the California Highway Patrol, and the Masons were responsible for the Age of Enlightenment, is not a coincidence. The two patches I've shown you in the earlier pictures, one was the blue code of silence, the blue line, the Freemason, secret society, secret silence, and the Boston Police patch. These are the only ones I could find on eBay. But yes, they show that these patches are real and available to those who know where to find them. Those of you who have been watching my videos, I'm very scientific in my approach, unlike psychiatry, which is pseudoscience. So I'm going to overkill. I swear to God that I do not have anything illegal in my car that I know of. I'll be following all the traffic laws. And if they set me up, it's obvious what happened and why. Probably because I've been exposing Masons' roles in law enforcement specifically recently. I have nothing to hide. If I did have something to hide and I thought that they were going to crack down on me, this wouldn't stop them from taking me to court and arresting me, So there's no point in doing it if I did have something to hide. I also swear to God that I did not coerce or get anyone in my 11 witnesses playlist to lie. And if anyone comes out and says otherwise, they're lying and I'm not lying. So help me God on my eternal soul. I'm doing this for God. There's no reason to lie. I'm doing this to do the right thing, and God has taught me, what the right thing is. These people are cowards, and the things that I talk about are true. These are the facts. I'm not some crazy conspiracy theorist. I have 175 IQ approximately, if you believe the IQ tests. I'm the son of 2 doctors, 1 a brain surgeon. I have a degree in software engineering. I have a top martial arts challenge that I swear to God I've been completely honest about. And because of as you can see, I am doing my due diligence. I also encourage you all to upload videos without my face on them to help increase the likelihood that they'll stay on. Record it from a camera that is not connected to the internet, so they don't know that you've downloaded it. So when you re-upload it, they'll have to scramble to figure out who you are, where you are. And it will also create more time for this to be exposed if they take extreme measures. I'm an honorable man of God, and those of you who have been watching my videos, you know that. I get angry at times because they have been provoking me. And I've been very methodical. I have been very efficient with my presentation. I have done my due diligence. It is far worse for this to be done to an uncontrolled black political dissident, a good Christian, and a well-disciplined man such as myself than it is to be done to the average black person. Because it has to do with the effect on society. Look at it from a sociological perspective. If we leave all of our uncontrolled political dissidents out to dry, society will suffer. There will be no hope. To stop someone from helping millions, if not billions of people, is much worse than to stop someone who's not. To persecute someone who's trying to help these people and to stop them is much worse than to persecute someone who's not. Many of you are informants. You have betrayed God and humanity by being so. You have a chance to repent. Give this video to a friend to give to a friend to a friend. And we have enough degrees of separation, they can't trace it back to you. It's the least you can do after all of your betrayal. Stop valuing your political group and your complexes over what is best for humanity. And even if you cannot do that, you must at least see how this will affect all of humanity and your children, and possibly yourself, if you ever decide to do the right thing. All you people who see yourselves as Americans, you know that there's nothing I've done that justifies this constitutionally. You know that the Supreme Court, if given the facts, would be forced to rule in my favor, that this is my freedom of speech, and there is no law that says it is okay to prohibit it or to limit it or to hinder it in any way. And that's what I'm being persecuted for, telling the truth. There was even an anti-Masonic party that I believe John Quincy Adams' son, was a part of. Being against Masonry is okay according to American law. Just because Masons have dominated the law doesn't make it okay to persecute those who are exposing what they're doing using the institutions and the law. To all you Masons, stop abusing your authority. Stop using your positions in law enforcement and mental health in your networks and your brother and sister secret societies, other societies aligned to you, to persecute political dissidents. This is the political abuse of the California Highway Patrol, and I have a lot of reason to suspect that either the Democratic Party or the Freemasons are the reason why they're persecuting me. This is the political abuse of the Santa Clara County Sheriff Department. San Jose Police Department hasn't really been active, but I suspect their involvement, as well as the Morgan Hill Police Department. Don't know, but it makes perfect sense. Also, the political abuse of psychiatry, which, if you do your due diligence, has a long history in this country. Long history. Long appalling history. Ionia State Hospital, drapetomania, the MKUltra experiments. It's a long, long history. Psychiatrists sterilizing people. Long history of the political abuse of psychiatry, especially by eugenicists and their networks. I do not need or am I asking for any help for myself, only that you expose my story so no one who is a good person makes the mistake of joining a secret society or thinking it's okay to do this. At least we will keep good people from joining these secret societies that make mediocre people bad. And if that is all that is accomplished, then it is well worth my time. I do not care about what happens to me. All I care about is doing the work of God. I've done what no other martial artist has ever done in this country, and I did so persecuted, drugged, on record and off, and fumed on record, with 11 witnesses of me being persecuted and others who chose not to go on record because they understood the seriousness and the magnitude of the situation. For those of you who think it's okay to live in a society run by criminals that do so under the color of law, that do so using this pseudoscience and abomination known as psychiatry, I pity you. Just like I pity all cowards who have been put into a state of denial. In the African tradition of martial arts, Africa being the source on record of martial arts, I have made them hide and resort to cheating and using their networks to try to suppress my natural talent. And I could not be more proud. I will not compromise anything. I will fight the good fight in the name of the Lord and all that is right. You know them by their works and their philosophies. You know them by their treachery. And in many cases, more often than not, you know them by their demeanors. Many of these people have taken acting classes. They have worked with psychologists. They do plays in Masonic lodges, so they know how to put on a show and an act. Do not be fooled. These people take special care in emphasizing coming off as personable, responsible, and correct. They are the wolves in sheep's clothes the Bible has talked about. They are the people who operate in the night when good Christians know the truth must come to the light. A good Christian does not fear the government persecuting them for telling the truth. Therefore, they do not join secret societies. Did Jesus fear? Did the disciples, the apostles? No. The only people who operate in secret societies are evil men who are cowards, who are afraid to be held accountable for their criminal activities. And I do not think it takes someone with 175 IQ who's a brain surgeon's son, the top martial artist, and a software engineer to explain that to you. Thank you. You cannot make this up. That same fucking highway ninny fucking patrol, SUV, Jeep type thing. I don't know if it's the same exact one, but my goodness, I don't exactly think it's a coincidence either. Picture me rolling how, yeah.